Well, Amelia, I'm so happy that you brought up Zero Res because many of us may be dealing with a few accidents in the house, especially from our pets, and especially because they've been home right now. They're not sure what's going on, so that could be a huge cue that it's time for a little bit of a training refresher. If that's what you need, then this is a great time to do it while you're at home with your pets. That's why we sat down with Dog Training Elite to give you some tips on how you can train those dogs. I'm here with the team from Dog Training Elite, and today we want to talk about kind of the things that we're working on, especially from home right now. So a lot of us working from home with COVID. Let's talk about some training tips that we can teach our dogs right here from home.
That's fantastic. So when it comes to being home all the time with your dogs, one of the things to keep in mind is that having a well-behaved dog doesn't take hours a day. Really, for them, working 5, 10, 15 minutes a day, and even sporadically kind of like spread throughout the day, is enough for them. Some other things to think about, especially if you're working at home while they're at home, it can be hard to constantly have them asking for attention. So it really is okay to use a kennel. And then the last thing to keep in mind is that they are pack animals and they're super social, which means that they are really going to want to spend time with you, which is normal, but also that they look for you to look to you to tell them who's in charge. And so just a couple of things that you can do to tell them that you're the alpha in the pack are little things like don't let them get on the furniture until you've invited them. Don't let them eat until you've given them their food, and then after 10 minutes or so, pick it up. The last thing that's really helpful is anytime you go through a doorway, you go first and she would go second, because part of what you're teaching her is that you're the one who gets to go make sure everything's safe and then tell her, yeah, you're good, come on along.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about walking our dog. I know that, I don't feel like I get her out quite as much as I probably should, but she's tiny, I don't feel like I have to. And I'm worried right now with so many people outside walking their dogs. What do I need to worry about with her? Or should I worry about, her getting into an altercation with another dog? All of that. So what kind of tips do you guys have for us?
Yeah, well, first, it's absolutely normal for a dog to want to sniff and meet other people and dogs, and that's just totally normal. But another thing, something that's really important is to know your dog. Know how your dog interacts with other dogs. And if there's a possibility that there could be a negative interaction, then set your dog up for success. One thing I know people are really struggling with is pulling on the leash. So one thing you can do is you can walk a couple of steps and then stop. And then tell them to sit, and then when they've settled, you can walk and then tell them to sit when they've settled, and so on and so forth. And if it continues to persist, another thing you could do is turn around and walk a couple of steps, and then turn back around.
Now, another thing we wanted to talk about too, okay, yeah, it's her leash, you can walk yourself. Independent girl, yeah. Is separation anxiety. So, obviously right now we're home, which is great, but we're gonna go back at some point, and I'm so concerned because she has slight separation anxiety now, but what happens when all of a sudden we're not home? And is it something that we're gonna have to worry about? Like, what do we need to look for?
So a couple of tips on that, but the first one is start small now while you can. So even in the house, right, if she gets a little bit of separation anxiety, if you're in a different room, you can put her in her crate or put her in a room that's safe for her. Go do your dishes, come back and get her. If she's barking or whining or crying, have her settle down first before you let her out of that crate or let her out of the room. The other thing is creating a safe space for her or for your dog. If it's a crate, for example, that's really a safe place for them. You want that to be a safe place. It's okay for them to eat in there. It's okay for you to take some clothing, put it on a little bit and then put it in there so it's a safe place for them. And they know they still have the smell, if they have a blanket, if they have toys, those kinds of things for making it safe. The other thing too, if you have a really active dog or really, a dog that likes to chew and is really active and is really intelligent, get a calm, put peanut butter in it.
Well guys, thank you so much for joining us from Dog Training Elite. We really appreciate you guys helping us out with some of these tips. If people at home want to get a hold of you or want to learn more, how do they do that?
So the best way to get a hold of us is probably to call. The number is 720-826-4364. That's for dog. And you can call or text that number. You can also send us an email. Our email is pretty straightforward. It's denver@dogtrainingelite.com. One of the great things about us is that we come out to your house for free and meet you, meet your dog, see what your training goals are, let you know how we work, and then if it's a good fit, we can move forward and we do all of our training in your home.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us on Dog Training Elite will come to you and teach you how to train your dog properly. Give them a call or shoot them a text at 720-734-5768 for your free in-home evaluation today. Watch your dog transform into a well-behaved best friend. Learn more at dogtrainingelite.com.